I lead a weekly meeting with the team, and that's really a lot of what I talk about. Is I always say to the cold, like in front of the whole team, all 21 people, we have 7 cold callers, but I say, hey, cold calling is a hard job because you are reaching out to a lot of people that do not want to be called. A lot of people are incredibly rude to you. And you have to recognize it is not personal. It is not you. There's nothing about you. They're not mad at you. They just have all these things probably going on in their lives. And you are an annoyance and you're a faceless, nameless person that they can unleash some of their anger on. And it's not personal. It's like golf. You should play golf, but in golf, if you're not so good, then you have a lot of bad shots.
That's
Okay.
me.
And you just got to forget about it. Yeah, I know, right? You got to forget about it. You forget about that bad shot and you take the ball where it is and you hit another one. And the next one could be, you could sink it from 100 yards out, but you just got to forget. You got to have the memory of a goldfish, I think is the other thing I like to say to the team.
Have you ever read The Inner Game of Golf or The Inner Game of any of those books?
No, but it sounds like something I should read.
Inner Game of Golf is next level, but it's about that mindset. It's about playing a different game. Golf isn't golf. Golf is basically a game with myself where I'm battling my own emotions. That's the game of golf. It makes it's really fun. It's a cool book. But anyway, that's killer. We do a stand-up meeting once a week, and I think I'm going to steal that because that's fantastic. Getting the cold callers, keeping them on board and keeping them engaged, I feel is 80-20 is one of the most high leverage things that people can do. And I think it's one of the hardest things to do because, like you said, it's a really hard job. They're working remote a lot of the time. They're sitting in 3 a.m. in the dark in some place in the Philippines or in South America, or maybe, I don't know, you might have people in the States too, but yeah, you gotta,
all my cold callers are Philippines or Latin America. Most of them are Philippines. Exactly. It's the middle of the night, it's dark out.
Yeah. And so how do you get them bought in? And we had one of our cold callers almost in tears during our company call the other day, happy about working at the company. So I think getting to that level that changes outcomes drastically. That'll triple what other teams do if you have culture like you're building. Yeah. Talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah. Maybe just to touch on that. Yeah. That's such a good point. When you're working in a completely remote team, it can feel like you're operating in a silo. And so we use Slack as our company message system, and we have a family channel where we just post things about what's going on in our lives, vacations we've taken, our kids, and everybody kind of celebrates. So that's one thing we do. We celebrate birthdays. And so everybody who has a birthday, we'll buy them a cake and have it delivered to them or something. And then we'll all get on a Zoom call and sing happy birthday. It sounds horrible because everybody's got this till, but it's really fun and everybody looks forward to it. And so we celebrate milestones in people's lives. One thing we do with the acquisitions team as a whole is we put them on teams, and the teams compete against each other for the number of contracts that are signed from the leads they push. And there's a little bit of financial incentive tied to that. And we swap up the teams every single month. So every month they come up with team names. Let me pull up my Slack real quick and tell you the latest team names. Let's see. Because obviously October was a new month. So we just redid it. Let's see.
This is part of your monthly. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So we have, so we got, this is so fun. So we have the one team is the Soil Sisters this month, and the other one is Jesse's Leading Ladies. And so Jesse is our only kind of guy on the acquisitions cold outreach team. And so he's got Jesse's Leading Ladies. Let's see, what was the result for last month? I don't know if okay. Oh my gosh. Okay. Last month we had Call of Duty was one of the team names, and the other one was KPI Pirates, or K Pirates is what it was. KPI. Nice. It's just, they're funny.
Good.
That's come up with really good team names.
That's clever. And those are you have 2 acquisitions that then you just switch them up each month, and then.
Yeah. It depends on how many people. Sometimes we'll do 3 different teams, but usually we just split it into 2 teams.
And you do it based on contract signed?
Yeah. Contract signed, because I don't want the KPI to be tied to a metric they can control.
Yeah,
they can't control the number of contracts they're signed. That's the acquisitions manager, lead manager. That's their job. But the cold caller, cold outreach team's job is to forward quality leads. And the more qualified quality leads, the more contracts they will get from it. So I want to be careful about incentivizing something that would actually hurt our team, like pushing more leads that aren't qualified.
Gumming up the system because people are trying to scam metrics. I did phone sales, biotech phone sales of stole stem cell, baby umbilical cord blood. We would freeze it.
Okay.
But anyway, we had crazy metrics. We had like 20 different sales metrics and a big sales board. It was like boiler room type thing, and everyone could still game them. Like you could be so sophisticated. It's all, yeah, just getting some metric that people can't game is the way to do it for sure. So I
Right.
think that's a
100%.
clever way to do it, because people get focused on whatever you incentivize. So a lot of times
Exactly.
you put in some sort of metrics and then now they're just doing that. They lose sight. So
That's exactly right.
what's your team's output? Like how many leads could someone expect from a good cold caller in a day versus just someone who's kind of slacking?
Yeah, generally, and obviously this is so like data dependent, the area that they're calling, the time of year, there's all kinds of different things that go into this. But in general, I expect one cold caller to be able to get 1 to 2 good qualified leads, qualified in the sense of we want to buy, they want to sell, and the price is somewhere near market or less every day.
Mhm. And on that cold call, it sounds like you're doing sometimes a little bit of almost like lead manager-esque in that cold call as well.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people think of cold call like just, are you down to sell? And then lead manager, a little bit of qualification, and then acquisitions manager. So yeah, talk about how they blend those.
Yeah, exactly. This is a place where I probably differ from a lot of folks that are doing this. My thought behind it is I would rather have less leads pushed and more quality and like just higher quality leads so that I can have more work being done at the lower dollar per hour level employee than the higher dollar per hour level employee. And I really want the lead manager, the acquisitions manager to focus on copying, negotiating, closing deals, and not focusing on, is this lead a qualified lead? Should we even bother comping them or not? We try to push some of that lead management down to the cold callers, and it does two things. One, it provides me like a really good pool of candidates for additional roles in the company. So if I needed to hire another acquisitions manager or like lead manager, someone who's doing some of that negotiating comping work, then I would be able to pull potentially from my best cold caller because they already have the sales skills. They already have the conversational skills, the rapport building skills. They already know how to qualify leads. Now I just need to train them how to comp and actually close a deal versus having to train them to also better qualify leads. Like they already have kind of this base skill set, and it leads to just more flexibility on my team, right? Higher quality employees at the lower level, better trained employees at the lower level.
Nice. Yeah, it makes sense. That's a good way to do it, especially if you're simplifying your own operations. If you have 7 cold callers, they're each bringing in 5 leads a day, 35 leads a day, and you're pushing that all, yeah, that could get crazy. It could get real crazy. So what happens with a lead? You get a lead, comes in. What technically happens with it? It goes in a form, drops directly into a CRM. How do you manage the leads, and how do you manage speed to lead and researching those, and what's that look like?
Yeah, good question. So in our ready mode, we have a few different folders that we put leads in, or button. It's really the buttons that you push.
Mhm.
Obviously, the one is push to CRM. And so when a lead is fully qualified, they click the push to CRM. And what that does is we use Follow Up Boss as our contact management CRM source of truth. And then we use Notion to manage our deal pipeline. And so when a lead gets pushed to CRM and Follow Up Boss, it changes the stage. And so now that's in a lead Notion stage. And then there's another automation that pushes that lead and create a new deal card in Notion. And then that's where the lead manager and acquisition manager, I have 2 different titles. They both essentially do the same thing. The acquisition manager has responsibility over the entire team as well as the primary negotiator. And the lead manager is just working deals, comping, and negotiating. The acquisition manager just has more responsibilities. But they both essentially do the same thing when it comes to handling leads. And the expectation is within an hour, that person is getting a call back. It's comped, it's ready to negotiate. But even still, that second call that we do is the goal is never, it's not usually to close the lead. It's usually to the person that is going to do the offering is now introducing themselves and now building up a rapport of their own, asking deeper questions about the property, and also basically setting the stage for our offer. Because again, we don't want to blindside them with some low offer. We want to lead them into understanding our offer is probably going to be a little bit lower than what they really want for the property, because that's the nature of this business, right? Like we have to get good deals on properties and we have to be able to explain why that second call serves to do that. And so it goes, hey, maybe we're looking at a property. It'd be easier if I pulled up land ID, but I'm not going to do that right now. But let's just imagine a property has good road frontage, but we want to ask some deeper questions like, hey, I noticed there's no driveway or culvert to access this property. Have you ever had one installed? Is there any other like physical access onto the property? And they'll say, no, I haven't. It's just vacant land. And they'll be like, okay, great. Have you done any clearing work? Is the property really accessible from the front? Can we see into the property? They go, oh no, it's like totally overgrown with bushes and trees. Okay. Is there a water line along the road? We probably already asked that question in the first call. So now we know. So we say, have you ever installed a water tap? Is there a water tap ready for somebody to build and be provided water? And they'll say, oh no. And so we're leading them into all these negatives about their property that maybe they didn't think about or consider. And so it's helping maybe them understand the value they're asking for may not be what we're going to offer because of all these things that we're saying aren't there that we probably will have to do to make the property marketable or in line with whatever the market is in that area.
Yeah. Okay. And then with the comping, how solid are you on price on that second call? This is how much we think we can resell it for. This is our range. And
yeah, we do maybe 15-minute comp. We pull 3 of the best comps from, and we're looking at data tree data. We're looking at Lands of America backend property control center, looking at Land Vision. We're looking at price, comp reports and priced average pricing. We're looking at Zillow. We're looking at all the different places and trying to find the most like 3 properties that are nearby and coming up with kind of an average based on those features, or maybe like a up or down because those comps have better features, and then coming up with a number. But we're generally not solid with a number. A lot of people are like, oh, what percentage of market value do you offer? And this is one of the other things maybe I wanted to convey to people in this business is that margins have been pushed or compressed. In a lot of cases, people have maybe more information than they used to have. People are getting letters with higher offers than they're used to getting. And so their opinion of the value is often colored by those other interactions with either less experienced or newer land investors that are sending them these offers. And so you need to be able to take advantage of your leads in some way, like monetization of your leads in some way. And it doesn't always look like anymore offering 50, 40, 30, 60 cents on the dollar, right? Mm-hmm. Sometimes if you have a really good saleable property, $20,000 margin, $30,000 margin, even if you're buying it at $100K and it's worth $130, $140, that could be the right deal for you if you have the strategy to be able to monetize that, aka like double close or a novation contract where you have much more time to market. You can do some of the necessary improvements to get that property sold faster. And so I don't have a set number because I want to look at every possible property that has an interest in this, every seller that has an interest in selling, and figure out, hey, what is the best way for us to monetize this? And a lot of times we can't, obviously, but we have more opportunity to do it with more strategies.
Yeah, that brings up an interesting thing. So I've talked to over 200 land investors now in my CRM, and I've boiled down the people who are successful, and it is 2 things. One, just being decent at sales. Like they're good on the phone and they're biased towards action. And then the other is their tool belt. Like the people who have maybe done real estate in the past, but they can come in with creative eyes and they could maybe they can entitle, maybe they can subdivide, maybe they can sell it to a developer, maybe they can just flip it. They can do owner financing. Like the people who can do whatever end up crushing it from what I've seen. And then the more narrow that scope becomes, the less often they're doing deals. So yeah, I encourage people to continue to open that tool belt up or add to it.